Morning, how are you?
Oh my God, good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. You know, this year has been what it is. So I think in midst of current affairs, I'm fine.
Yeah, same. It's just a nightmare. How is pandemic New York City?
Much better than it was. It was really bleak for a couple of months because obviously you saw that we had like some of the most cases for a while. Lots of people that my friends know passed away. Um, but since the weather got a bit warmer and things could be a bit more open, it's definitely been more optimistic, and we have low case rates now, so it feels bearable. I think
God, I'm so sorry.
that's fine. I mean, you know, we've been. I've gotten off lightly compared to a lot of other people in the world, so I can't really complain. Where are you in Manchester at the moment?
Yeah, we are. We've come up in a bubble, so we drove up together
Yeah.
Mhm.
and been distancing from everyone. Uh,
Yeah.
it's
That.
it's a really different Pride this year. Um,
Yes.
Everything is
Yes.
virtual, and it's the same all over the world. I mean, how are you feeling like Pride wise?
I feel really sad for the people that actually need physical pride because, you know, not everybody has a home that's supportive, not everybody has family that's supportive. And for a lot of people in the world, I think the physical prides are for them a place that they can go and be around people that are like minded or in the same LGBTQ plus bracket for however long that's for. And I worry about those people that don't have that in their daily lives. So it's very problematic, I think, everything being online because not everybody in the queer community has access to a computer and the internet. Not everyone has the budget for that. And at least physical prides are mostly like open to everybody from generally every price bracket. Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, that's my main concern this year.
And this is the thing, like Pride is about togetherness, isn't it? And without being together, it's difficult to get that sense of community.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but music helps us get that, and your new album is coming out. Good segue.
Doing my best. Doing my best.
So is this an album that you've made in lockdown, or was it sort of all ready to go before lockdown, and you sort of put the finishing touches to it?
No, it was all done pretty much last year, and I got it mastered uh end of February, so everything was up in the systems ready to go for the start of March, and the first single was planned, and then then quarantine happened the week before the first single. So much like your tour that you were supposed to be going on,
Yeah.
um, you know, just like next at the last minute, I was supposed to be playing at tons of different prides this year. Obviously, none of that happened, but the creative stuff was done. The music was anyway before lockdown, and we'd done 2 videos. Luckily, because I'm a grandmother and I plan everything a lot in advance. But I've been planning intricate videos around it, which obviously aren't happening now. So, yeah.
Do you think that you might be performing at Manchester Pride in 2021 if Miss Rona does one?
I would love to be, yeah. I really hope to be able to kind of do a lot of the prides that I was supposed to do this year, but ended up not doing them next year. Um, just nobody knows really what's going to happen next year either, do they?
No.
It's just so terrifying to be like, who knows? When will I ever be able to play a live show again? I don't know. I really don't know at all. But I'm hoping at least by next year we'll be able to do outdoors events, you know, even if indoor ones don't quite happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every track on this album is basically a duet with an amazing LGBT, or every track I think but one is a duet with an amazing
Yeah.
LGBTQ plus person.
Yes.
Have you just got the world's best contact book?
I do my best. Yeah, I half of them were friends before making the record, and the other half were kind of like outreach, I suppose, to people that I think are emerging talent or classic talent that I hadn't been in touch with yet.
Right.
So it was a really cool exercise to sort of meet some new people and to reconnect with people that I haven't worked with before and on a personal level. And it was fun. And like, I didn't know Sam Sparrow before doing this record, and we've become really good friends. So it's been nice. Like the way that I've done all of my records, because I don't have a label or a manager or anything, is just sort of getting in touch with people that I think are good people. And while the lack of machine behind me has made things a bit slower, the relationships and like the collaborations have been much more organic. And so I'm genuinely friends with almost everyone that I've had on a record, you know, and that's very rewarding, especially in an LGBTQ plus circumstance where community is important and the connection is important. It feels like anybody on this record I could text and I'd hear back pretty much straight away, and they're all amazing people.
Amazing. I mean, there's so many incredible songs on the album, but before we talk about that, I just want to ask why our theme tune wasn't a bonus track.
Well, I didn't. I thought I'd have to owe you royalties for that or something.
You made it?
But it was a conflict of interest. You know?
Well, we love it. Thank you so much for like making our new theme.
Oh, you're so welcome. It was really fun to do, actually. Was that in quarantine or was it before? I can't even remember.
Honestly, I don't know either. I think it was a bit of both. It was kind of the end of last year into this year, so it was bubbling.
Yeah. I've lost all concept of time and space, I think.
It was funny when we approached you about producing it, we gave you some different ideas on what we might want, and I suggested YMCA.
Surprise.
And you can kind of hear it, can't you?
You can, yes. I feel like you can hear the YMCA in many, many queer pieces of work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the YMCA, actually, as to James's surprise, actually, because I love songs that annoy people, like,
yeah,
which is why I like metal, I suppose, because it annoys everyone around me. But YMCA is one of those tunes you get an immediate reaction, and people either love it or hate it.
Yeah. What other songs do you love that really annoy people?
Well, I just love playing like abrasive rock music in the presence of people who don't like it. I just like.
Case in point, James.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you? That was the first time you've produced a sort of metal theme as well, I guess, like a metal piece of music. How was that?
It was great.
Are you gonna go in a new direction on the next record?
We'll see, Dan. Especially you with the new beard that you have. Maybe you can front the project, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean it's
impressive.
Very metal inspired beard.
Yeah, I mean you can't really go from working with Jake Shears to working with Dan Hudson, to be honest with you.
Well, stranger things have happened.
How is Jake doing right now? If you're friends, can we also be friends with him, please?
Oh, he's fab. I'm not sure where he is right at the moment, but he was in New York briefly, I think around the time of New York Pride, because we had the Solidarity March. So I saw him that day, and he was great. He's been like mostly rural throughout the whole thing, which is nice, you know, back with family and stuff, which just must be a very different experience. Like I've been in New York since the day of quarantine and just been in the middle of a city, and a lot of other people have been kind of here, there, and everywhere, sort of nesting away wherever they can. And it's interesting thinking about just how different a quarantine experience everybody's had, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think Madonna said this was like the great equalizer, but it feels anything but. Everything is so divided again.
Yes, it's very not a great equalizer. Like some people have gorgeous homes, other people do not.
Yeah.
And there's like quite a marked difference between that. I think really some people, you know, I was alone for pretty much 7 weeks, and that's not the same as people that live with a partner or people that live with their family. Like, and I'm not even in a terrible place, like, but loneliness is really not fabulous.
So what's going on with the album's vibe? Because there's a lot of goodbyes, there's good at goodbyes, and there's also goodbyes are exhausting.
The album, I wanted to reflect lots of different angles of the LGBTQ plus experience. So over the last couple of years, I've been listening to people, researching old films and literature, and just sort of seeing what people are doing in our community and how things have changed and how they haven't. And so there's the lighter sides in the record, like I Used to Be Cool and Sensation, which are about the happier moments in culture of like delusional fantasy about romance and finding your people and, you know, community spirit. Good at Goodbyes taps into the whole like Shirley Valentine kind of side of gay culture, where you're this sort of like lovelorn, romantic, tragic figure that like should be moving on, but you actually can't do that. So it's somewhere between like Shirley Valentine and like Dorian Green from Birds of a Feather, you know? That was my role model for that. Because I do feel like, you know, or like on the Birdcage as well, there's like the rose tinted sentimental side of gay culture where you should be moving on, but there's the romance of the past, which I feel like is a big experience. And then Saying Goodbye is Exhausting is about a friend who died, because I feel like in the LGBTQ plus community, we're constantly saying goodbye to people far too young, and it's far too frequent, especially when it comes to trans women, Black trans women, Latin trans women, and the process of having to say goodbye to people day after day after day is utterly exhausting and utterly unacceptable. So I wanted to have something more serious in there as well. Yeah.
I'm embarrassed that I thought that was about saying goodbye to like one night stands, and when actually
No, it's about a friend who died. And I have lots and lots and lots of people who have had friends that have died in the last year alone, you know. And I think people don't really know how to process that. And I feel like culture is still somehow ignoring the fact that trans people die every week. You know, there's been a case every single week this year, I think, in America. And it just needs to be sort of like discussed head on. The album is trying to start conversations with people in and out of our community, really, because I feel like the lack of conversation in so many walks of life is what leads to divisions and this like screaming across a chasm that people have between like Democrat and Republican, like Tory, Labor, straight, gay. It's like we're all people, and as long as you can just discuss topics that bridges the gap for so many different people, you know, even within the LGBTQ plus community, it's not perfect. There's division, there's ignorance, there's lack of responsibility, and I feel like people just need to address things that they're doing right and wrong and start talking about them to help everyone out.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that is, I mean, there's racism, there's inequality just within our community.
Yeah, so it's very heavy for Sunday morning, I know, but
yeah, we like to go heavy.
Yeah, I mean, we're always heavy on this podcast. And that is, you know, that is so true for our community. We've always had to deal with saying goodbye to friends of ours, and that's been happening since before I was even born, and continues today. And it's exhausting, and it's so awful that the media is just ignoring the situation with trans lives and Black trans lives in America and around the world. And I just don't really get it, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it's funny that they're ignoring it, but they're also not. Like, they're reporting it, but as if it's just like par of course, you know. It's as if it's saying like, today is sunny, tomorrow it's going to rain. It's like somebody dying isn't simply just like another, well, there you go, fact of life. It's like, that shouldn't be acceptable because we have all of these things in place, quote unquote, like the police and the fire system and ER and, you know, doctors and hospitals, so that people don't just happen to die, but they do. And people are like, like, how is that reality? It's wild. It's absolutely wild. But like, you know, on the plus side of things, you have your podcast, A Gay and a Non-Gay, which is bridging a gap. And I think that that's something super important where like you don't often see that like camaraderie talking about the same issues and dealing with the same things. And one of the reasons that I love Erasure is that it's a straight man and a gay man, and they have this constant dialogue, and you wouldn't remotely put a difference between them when it comes to the songs, because they just have this synergy. And I think like just showing people, you know, not us or like people we know, but like showing the world, quote unquote, that people can coexist like that are so different, does make a difference to some people that just don't understand people who are not like themselves. So it's an important representation.
Yeah, it's funny. We get a lot of messages from people who are straight or gay saying, "Oh my God, my best friend is gay and I'm straight," or "My best friend is straight and I'm gay," and like, "You two are exactly like us." And Originally, I was like, is it that big a deal? Like, but I guess it is.
But that's such a straight point of view, because to a gay person, it is quite a big deal. Because I don't really, I mean, before you, I didn't really hang out with straight people. And openly, I would say I was probably quite scared of them, because you just don't know how they're going to react to you. And you don't want to have to answer questions endlessly about sexual positions that straight people seem obsessed with. Like, oh, how do you do it? Like, who cares? How do you do it? And yeah.
How do you do it? Look on the internet. It's there. Go on.
Right? And I'm sure Dan has. Like, he says he hasn't, but he's definitely been on GayTube or whatever.
Or whatever. As if you don't use it, James. Oh, that site.
Listen, so I've been lucky enough to be in lockdown with my boyfriend, but that also brings its own issues in that I can't really watch porn, so I have actually genuinely forgotten the websites. So you'll have to send them to me.
Sorry, just let me get my tiny violin out for that.
Exactly. No, don't feel sorry for me. Please don't. I love the Sylvia Rivera sample on your album. That is honestly the most powerful opening to a song I think I've ever heard.
It's genuinely one of my favorite speeches that I've ever heard. It's so, I don't know if you've seen the footage as well. It's on YouTube. And it's just incredible. And the crazy thing is that she's being booed when she's making the speech. And I can't believe it. Like, if anything symbolizes the disparity in our community, it's the person that was out there fighting for the right being booed. It's mind blowing. And I'm glad that works for you. I was kind of nervous putting it in there, but it is like important to me, and I think it's a really pivotal moment in culture.
Why were you nervous?
Just because it's using somebody else's words, which I've never really done before, and it's something overtly political that I was worried would come across as trite or being used heavy-handedly. But I'm really glad. You know what I mean? It's like it's a bit of a choice. So,
but people need to hear that more and more.
They do.
And it's interesting that they were being booed because, God, I mean, that's still happening now. Like, trans voices are constantly shut down. But that in that moment, that was happening from members of the LGBT community, right? Or not the speaker.
It was at a Pride gathering. Yeah.
Wow. And Sylvia was being booed. And it takes a lot to get your head around that, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. It's kind of terrifying to realize that people still don't value trans lives in the midst of everything. And, you know, you do see the lack of empathy in the culture, because I'm sure you felt this as well, but like, as a gay man, I've definitely walked into a queer space, a gay space, a gay bar, whatever, and felt utterly invisible because you're not the like sculpted Instagram forward white person that they're lusting after. And that sounds ridiculous as a white man to say that, but like the exclusionary tactics of people within our community are so specific that it's like, you know, there's only a few people that grab the attention in a room, and that invisibility for me is nothing really. But to a trans person, that is invisibility is crushing. And it's just like another reinforcement of the fact that they're not worth what non-trans people are worth, and it's not acceptable for people to treat them like that. And I don't understand why it still exists.
I also feel that on Instagram, actually. And I don't know if you do as well. And obviously, I'm just sort of getting my head around it while I speak, but I'm terrified to post anything in case I don't look like I should look, because there's everyone else looking a certain way on Instagram. And that must be even more crushing for trans people.
It's just, you see what people are looking for, and it's very transparent, you know, like if you look at like the search function on Instagram, for some reason, I don't even follow these people, but like the suggested things, it's like some hot dude just like smiling to the camera, and it's like Monday. I'm like, how has that got like 17,000 likes? It's just one person just saying the word Monday. I mean, it's just meaningless. It's so pointless. I just can't really cope with it. Like, I don't know if that's what it takes to be Instagram famous. I truly hope never to be. But if it was you, Dan, with your beard being like Monday, I'd be like.
Yeah, well, of course. Talking of Sylvia Rivera, the Marsha P. Johnson State Park has just opened, hasn't it, in New York?
Yes, I just heard about that. Or it's just been named anyway. I don't know if I don't know if they're going to sort of close the park and reopen it once they've done it. But I don't think they've changed it yet. They haven't made the changes that they're going to, but they've just renamed it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I was going to ask if you'd been down there, but I guess not yet.
I have not. No. I haven't been into Williamsburg for a week or two.
Right. Okay.
They just announced it. Yeah, but I mean, I know where the park is. I just haven't been there for a little while.
So we need a Sylvia Rivera Park as well now, don't we?
Well, yeah.
It would be good if something on the west side was named after her, because that's where she was living. Just after everything that I quoted. But yeah, it's nice to see that big step. That is a really big achievement for the trans community, and it's long overdue.
What's it like being a gay British person in New York?
Mm-hmm.
Or I should say Welsh. Sorry.
Welsh person. You have to repeat yourself a lot. It's fine. It's strange at the moment, I feel, because I'm equally ashamed of Britain and America, and to be a gay, immigrant in a country that is being pretty embarrassing, coming from a country that is being also very embarrassing, is a very weird situation I didn't think I'd find myself in, thinking that they were two very forward-leaning countries. And I'm just so completely ashamed of them. And finding myself having a crisis of identity, I think, when it comes to where I'm from and where I'm living. On a day-to-day level, living in this city is amazing. And I'm very, glad of the friends that I have in the UK and of the country that I came from growing up and stuff. But I'm feeling in a very bizarre state of mind at the moment about where I live and where I'm from. Let's
talk about Manchester. You've played Manchester Pride loads. Are you missing Manchester in particular?
I love Manchester. It's really cool. It's such a funny little city because it's, given where it is in the country, it shouldn't really be as or you wouldn't expect it to be as diverse and as vibrant as it is. And it's amazing, the history it has with the music scene and with the gay scene. I really love it. There are so many little cool record shops that I always make a point of going to whenever I'm there on tour. Like when we were there last with Erasure, I got up super early and just ran around all the secondhand record stores before we had sound check and made sure that I kind of ticked off the boxes. As you can get some M People 12 inches there because, they're quite cheap in Manchester. Yeah, I really love it. I think it's such a cool city. I have lots of friends there. Manchester Pride is fantastic. It's great.
And we should let you go because it is so early where you are chatting to us. But I just wondered what's going on with the George Michael lookalike in the video.
Oh, he's great. Do you think he's a George Michael lookalike?
Well, this is what we were saying.
Is he not supposed to be a George? I thought that was the whole point.
No, but I mean, I'll tell him that. He'll be very happy.
I literally just thought, I thought you'd got him because he was I'm not the world's biggest George Michael fan, admittedly, but I thought that was the whole thing. I thought, he's literally George Michael. But
he'll be very flattered by that. That was obviously subconscious. But yeah, George is a big hero of mine, so that's a nice little accidental nod.
Yeah.
What's your favorite George Michael song, James?
Oh, that's a really hard question. So I want to. There's one that they played a lot when Princess Diana died, and so I want to say that. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's just so deep. Which one is it? It's the one that's
Yeah, I know the one you mean.
What is the title of that, Rod?
It's on older, isn't it?
Is it You Have Been Loved? Was it?
Oh my God, what did you say?
Was it You Have Been Loved?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
You've Been Loved. Yeah.
You've Been Loved is like, God, amazing. But other than that, I think it's got to be Outside.
I think Outside is the smartest comeback from any scandal that any celebrity has ever had. It's just, I remember when that coming out and just being like, like applause. It's just fantastic.
Dominic Cummings needs a similar type of moment.
What's your favourite George Michael song?
Spinning the Wheel and Outside. I just think Outside is it's just so glorious, isn't it? It's so camp and so glorious and so fantastic. And his voice on it, oh my God. I can't.
Was it that Mary J. Blige one?
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
He's just incredible. He's amazing. And so are you, Rod. So please get Bright Light's new album, which is out on the 18th of September.
Yes. Thanks so much for chatting to us, Rod. Hopefully we'll see you at Manchester Pride next year. Fingers crossed, maybe.
I hope to see you in actual real life sometime soon. Zooms are great and all that, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
If we ever make it to New York, you can come and perform the again NonGay theme tune.
Fantastic.
The pop version, but not the NonGay version.
I'll keep everything crossed.
Love you.
You too. Bye.